What is up, team? When I learned this, it changed the way I thought about running, thought about moving, thought about training. It really shifted my paradigm on just fundamentally like how I enjoyed the things that I love to do. And the number one insight for me came from not running for 8 years and doing alternative techniques with my body, such as yoga and movement and snowboarding and surfing and skating and all of these other things, and coming back to running and noticing that my breathing was completely different to everyone else running at parkrun on a Saturday morning around me. Now, I did some research and I figured out that the number one limiting factor to sports performance is our ability to take up oxygen in our cells. So let's unpack that, and there's some new content today that will enable you to level this up in next to no time. Literally a 30-minute free training program that you can integrate into your day-to-day so that you can level up this part of your movement and get the gains that has revolutionized my training, and I hope it can transform your running too. So let's take a look. So, limiting factors for maximum oxygen uptake and determinants of endurance performance. So you can Google this. This is essentially a simple paper, and what we are looking at is, in the exercising human, that is us, maximal oxygen uptake, VO2 max, is limited by the ability of the cardio, that's heart, next part of the word, respiratory, that's breathing system, heart and breathing system. This isn't just cardio, right? Cardiorespiratory system, to deliver oxygen to the exercising muscles. So the combination of our heart work and our respiratory system is required to achieve maximal oxygen uptake and deliver oxygen to exercising muscles. This is shown by three major lines of evidence. Number one, when oxygen delivery is altered by these three factors, VO2 max changes accordingly by blood doping. This is the stuff that they got all the Tour de France cyclists for. You know, Lance Armstrong, that's what they were doing, and that's what they monitor at the Olympics, right? A little bit out of our league and a little bit above recreational running. Hypoxia, what is that? Let's have a quick look. If we Google hypoxia, hypoxia occurs when oxygen is insufficient at the tissue level to maintain adequate homeostasis, stemming from various causes such as hyperventilation, that's overbreathing, ventilation perfusion mismatch, or right to left shunting. Don't know what those mean, but let's just look at this one. Hyperbreathing. Hypoxia can manifest acutely or chronically with varying presentations to dyspnea or tachypnea. So, occurs when oxygen is insufficient, so not enough oxygen at the tissue level. So, when we don't get enough oxygen to the tissue in our body, right, when we're running, that means we're running out of oxygen. And so what this paper says is that when oxygen is delivered, right, so if we don't get enough oxygen to our tissues, performance lowers. If we dope the blood, performance can increase. Or beta blockade, that's something to do with the protein level. We don't have access to that. VO2 max changes accordingly. The increase in VO2 max with training results primarily from an increase in maximal cardiac output, heart output, right? Not an increase in the VO2 difference. So this says when we train our heart muscle to have maximal output, we will see benefits in our running performance. And 3, when a small muscle mass is overperfused during exercise, there's extremely high capacity for consuming oxygen. Thus, O2 delivery, not skeletal muscle O2 extraction, is viewed as the primary limiting factor for VO2 max in humans. So, oxygen delivery is the number one limiting factor for humans to perform in sport, and it just so happens we can alter this through hypoxia, getting more oxygen to our blood than normal, and it's connected to our cardio system and our respiratory system. Now it mentions here training our cardiac output, our cardio system, that's running more, but what about the respiratory system? Let's take a look at that. So, okay, so if we look at breathing and running, the core thing to release oxygen from our cells is governed by our body's tolerance to have carbon dioxide in our cells, and this is connected to a factor called the Bohr effect. And this was discovered by Niels Bohr in about 1908, I think, if I've got my memory right, and he won a Nobel Prize for it. And his findings were that when there is a relationship between the level of carbon dioxide in our blood and the level of oxygen that can be released from our cells. So, by altering our body's ability to release oxygen from our cells, we avoid a reduced oxygen delivery rate, and it turns out our breathing massively influences the amount of carbon dioxide in our body. So, the Bohr effect was described in 1904 by Danish physiologist Christian Bohr. Hemoglobin's oxygen binding affinity, since carbon dioxide reacts with water to form carbonic acid, an increase in CO2 results in a decreased blood pH, resulting in hemoglobin proteins releasing their load of oxygen. So that's a fancy term for if the blood has a higher tolerance or higher concentration of carbon dioxide in it, it releases more oxygen. Remember, this is the number one limiting factor in sports performance. So, how can we train this in our body? Well, by training our breath enables us to lift the level of carbon dioxide tolerance in our body for our cells so that we can release more oxygen into our bloodstream, into our cells and tissues whilst running, so we can run further, faster, longer with less effort. Inside Skeletal Freedom, you all have access to Breathing for Runners LITE, and in here, in the foundation section, you can take your body oxygen level test. This is a direct test that allows you to understand your tolerance and how much carbon dioxide your body can store in the bloodstream before the brain triggers a need to breathe. When you train that muscle in our body, right, through our breathing, through our diaphragm, through our nose, through our lungs, through our bloodstream, we can lift that tolerance to carbon dioxide, we can get more oxygen released from our cells, and it makes exercising easier. This changed the game for me when I began to run from the ground up again. So once you've got your Bolt score, you can then, now, this is where it's really exciting, I've just released 3 personalized programs to improve your Bolt scores. So we've got a personalized Bolt improvement program section now. You can take your test, you can select the right program. If your score is less than 10 seconds, there is a customized improvement program here for you. If your score is between 10 and 25 seconds, there is a customized program here for you. And if your Bolt score is 25 seconds plus, there is a customized improvement program here for you so you can level up your running. If you have your Bolt score and you want to level up your Bolt score with a personalized program, feel free to let me know, join the community, post in the comment below, and you will get access to leveling up your Bolt score so you can tackle your number one limiting factor in sports performance head on from today, so you can run further, faster, with less effort and enjoy the sports and the running that you're doing.